All right, y'all know what time it is. See what's up there. 79 through 2025. 3-point shooting. Let's see the time of how as time progressed. Who were the 3-point shooters? I'll give you my opinion on some of the players I've watched play and their ability to shoot the shot for their overall game. And then we'll, take a look at how things have progressed till today. We already know who the king is. So, you're a Steph fan, Warrior fan, you know who's going to be at top. We're looking at all that stuff in between. Okay, let's jump into it. I've never heard of Brian Taylor. And Bird's in the league now. Mike Dunleavy Sr. Reggie Theus is dropping off. 83-84. Daryl Griffin. Here comes Bird. Craig Hodges, everybody should know who that is. Played with the Bulls, but before he got to the Bulls, he was a great 3-point shooter. Bird's the king now. Michael Cooper was throwing him up. Dale Davis. Sleepy Floyd. Okay. Larry falling off. Dale Ellis he was yanking him. Here comes Reggie. We're in the 90s. I want you to mind y'all that Reggie Miller, yeah, he shot threes, but Reggie Miller had inside game too. So, I know the shots popularized more so today, meaning they'll drive in for a wide open layup and kick it back for a three. No, that's offense nowadays. So where they will run your typical 5-out, it would be for backdoor cuts and cutting off the ball for layups or mid-range jumpers. Now they do it to set up motion, out of that motion, 5-out motion, to set up 3-point shots. It's like how it changed. It's not necessarily like, oh, they're better shooters today. No, it's just different sets and offenses and what's the personnel being big men. I got a true 4, true 5, like Shaq and all those guys and Akeem. You work a little bit more inside out, but it's to mid, not to 3. And when you have a 3-point shooter, they were in the corners, right? Reggie can shoot all over the place. So somebody like Dale Ellis, these guys can shoot, just flat out shoot. Meaning off the dribble, elbows, the free throw line elbow, they can hit all those shots, glass, everything. And they can still take you outside. Not that the guys today can't shoot. Like that is the form of offense. That's the preferred shot nowadays. So I know everybody talk about, oh, they're better and this and that, and this is why they're better, more skilled. It's just the style of offense. I think if you threw some of these guys in today's game, they'll shoot the ball the same way, just like the guys today. Reggie Miller shoot even more threes, just as much as Steph. Now, I don't know if he's shooting them from half court and all that stuff, but he's most definitely shooting threes versus going off his baseline cuts and pulling up, off a curl or for a 17 shot. And Reggie ran off a ton of screens too. I know they credit Steph for doing that. Reggie would run you ragged too. Reggie Miller would run you ragged through the whole, and he would be dragging you. And Dale, you got those two big dudes in here, just setting screens, smacking them, and just he had huge inside guys, and you have to run through those dudes. So just a little. I'll stop it here and there. Some of this stuff with describe what's transpiring in the league at these given times, from my point of view, versus what's happening today. Percy Hawkins, Thunder Dan Marley, Mad Max. That's Vernon Maxwell, if you guys don't know. Now, Vernon Maxwell had range, and he was clutch. Mitch Richmond, okay. Where we at? Mitch Richmond. Okay, look at Mitch Richmond. Oh, yeah. Marley. Here comes Tim Hardaway. If you're a Warrior fan, you should know what I'm getting at. John Starks was up there like that? Okay, so we're at, I ran Mitch Richmond in him a little longer, but here's the point where we get to the 3-point shot actually being evolved. And I know everyone's like, oh, Steph did it. No, it was Don Nelson. Don Nelson ran small ball, and he put emphasis on shooting the 3-point shot. What everyone needs to realize is that Don Nelson's scheme flourished with Steph in the New Age Warriors. And if you're a Warrior fan, you know the Believe team shot a lot of threes. If you're a Mavericks fan when Nelson was there, you know about their 3-point shooting. That's when it really changed. I know Steph gets the credit for changing it because he's so good at it. But it was changed before he even got in the league. It started turning that way. But it was at a minority look. Remember when Chuck got on them about ain't no team gonna win a championship that shoots the ball? That's when it was changing. When they won that chip is when everyone took hold of it. But prior to that, Don Nelson's the one that introduced that style of basketball. More so, and historically in my eyes, than any other innovator of the sport. We can go back further than that when they just got to shooting 1,000 3-pointers and say that was the evolution of the shot becoming more popularized. But I'll give the credit. And if you're a Warrior fan, that'll spark a memory for you, and you won't get butthurt because I'm not saying Steph Curry revolutionized the game, but I'm saying Don Nelson was the innovator of that style of offense, small ball and shooting threes, and it's throughout the history of the Warriors from this era that is why this is very popular. Steph contributed because Steph and the Warriors and Clay, those guys could play that way. They could shoot that way. They could play under that. Just like when you're looking at it right now, and I mentioned Mitch Richmond and Tim Hardaway being up there for the most 3-pointers. They're back-to-back, right? And we're not pointing out two teammates that are sitting there with each other. And you got Steph's dad down there with 1,100. But you got the two teammates sitting there right there chunking threes up. Not at the pace they do today. And we revisit that conversation when we go back and I said style of offense. This is when a style of offense is starting to change. You can see it in the numbers with Reggie and these guys starting to change. And you saw how quick Mitch Richmond shot up, how fast he shot up there in the 3-point tallies, meaning he was shooting high volume. So it's interesting when we look at it. You can, if you're a student of the game or or more historian of the game, or lived through it, you kind of can remember these type of things where the change really happened. You don't get caught up in the, oh wow, I can't believe this is happening. Well, if you get a guy that practiced shooting this shot, he gonna come out and beat Steph Curry. But it takes, we know the work it takes to do that. But Steph is the prodigy of Don Nelson. Let's put it that way. He's the vision of what Don Nelson saw I think of what Don Nelson saw playing basketball could be like when you play small. And the Warriors today are a living example of that. Play small and able to shoot that ball. Let's keep going. Terry Porter.
You'll need to unlock your iPad first.
Nick the Quick. Nick Van Exel. Here come Allen Houston. Here come Ray. Reggie is just killing it. Hey, and remember I said Reggie Miller still shot a lot of perimeter shots, 20-foot or and under shots. He shot a lot of them curling out, coming off screens and everything. So he wasn't just camped out behind a 3-point line. For waiting for driving kicks. He's running off screens and short curls and doing things like that and getting that little jump shot off. Not that he took 40 something shots and 20 was, mid-range shots. I'm not saying that, but his volume of how many he shot a game still wasn't up there, and look at what he's doing numbers wise. It's basically pointing at how good of a 3-point shooter he really was. Or he is, and that's not taken away from anyone that's going to pass him or anything like that. It's just showing like, hey, how many did he throw? How much more are people nowadays shooting than him? And that kind of tells you like, oh, he was actually a really good shooter if they're shooting at a higher clip. You shoot more, you'll make more. You shoot less, you'll make less. But if his clip is still up there, when you're shooting more, it tells you he was a real deal as far as shooting's concerned. So, I think Reggie was one of the best 3-point shooters up there with Steph and Ray. Look at Jason Kidd. They said he didn't have no jumper, so they dropped the J off his name, so they called him Asen. He climbing up there. Steve Nash. Here's Steve Nash, you guys. So remember the Don Nelson, the whole Dallas Mavericks stuff. And then Steve Nash, of course, goes to the Suns. And that style of play is starting to manifest itself more. There's come Bean Bryant. The Truth, Paul Pierce. The Jet, Jason Terry. Down Ray's pass, of course, Reggie Miller. Kyle Korver, Joe Johnson. Chauncey Billups. Dirk. Here comes Steph. Look at it's the volume. Such a other higher clip. Look at James Harden, the volume. Now you're starting to really see it. Him and Steph, look at that. That is. Then you got the Kane, who started off not a good shooter. He's already been in the league. And as he gets better, you can see his. Look at Steph pulling away. Off of some James Harden bad years. Clay. Look at Clay shooting up. This is beautiful. This KD. Yeah. Where we at about? Let's get this one right. So we're about right here. So Ray was in that high volume 3-point era. Of course, James. I'm trying to see if some of the old guys are still hanging around. Damian. Look at Reggie. He's still hanging around. He's a really good shooter. He's a really good 3-point shooter. Because he had a mid-range game also. I mean, he would still pull it. He's a catch and shoot guy. So that's incredible that he's still up there. Not a lot of guys have passed him up. And the guys that have passed him up are really good 3-point shooters. They're not just, I'm going to throw up 30 3-pointers a game. There are guys that can throw up 10 and hit you with 7. You know what I mean? 14 hit you with 9. Those type of 3-point shooters, not the ones that's going 4 for 15. You know what I'm saying? And just everything's throwing up everything, trying to get lucky. We already know what Steph can do. James Harden, Ray, we know what Ray can do. We already know what Lillard's like, baby Curry, with the way he's pulling them. And Clay, I think Clay is the most rounded shooter of today's era. His shot is like his form and everything is like perfect. Who else we got? Kyle Korver, we know he was a 3-point specialist. Paul George is surprising. He's a product of volume. Vince turned into a 3-point shooter. Jason Terry, known. Crawford, probably a volume guy. Crawford had wiggle. He can go inside and out. Kyle Lowry, Durant, we know he could shoot from anywhere. He's more of if he ran off screens, it would be a nightmare to stop him because he doesn't have a problem with his mid-range game is excellent. Thus, his 3-point shooting numbers is lower. Not that he was a bad shooter. It's just his game is all around. He can go inside or out. It doesn't matter to him. He's not going to sit on the 3-point line all day. Now, I'm going to exclude James Harden and Curry because that makes me sound like I'm saying they sit on the 3-point line. They don't. It's a part of their offense there. Well, more so with Curry than Harden. Harden to pull it right in your face. He's created so much traveling and everything just to get off his 3-point shot. Steph still legitimately runs off screens and is magnificent the way he moves. So we know he's working to get to threes. But yeah, everyone that lists, I feel is legit. LeBron's a good. I think LeBron's a good shooter, but he's more. I wouldn't count him. I wouldn't say he's. I think he's more. He worked his way into it. Some would say Ray Allen did, but Ray Allen was awesome in college. I could see his abilities turning into that. Everybody else pretty much looks like legit shooters to me. Legit just shooters, can shoot from anywhere on the court if they need it be. But great list. Beautiful list. Beautiful maturation of the shot in the game as far as how it changed and turned into what it was. I really like looking back at stuff like that. I'm probably do another one. I usually look at these things every now and then. But I saw this one was updated to 2025. So I was like, let me see what him looking like on top. So maybe a 3-point is something that's really changed. So I'm thinking of one, maybe like we already know all-time points, but you could see that too. It'll tell you how some of these guys just actually legit scores. And how their ability to score, like Michael Jordan, for instance, we already know. No, you don't know. I mean, heck, if Michael Jordan doesn't retire and have complications in his career, we don't know how many points. You know, he's a miniature um dang, I can't think of his name right now. Uh Good grief. Wilt Chamberlain. Oh, you know, he's just miniature Wilt Chamberlain where he can put up points, you know, absolute score. So we have to look at it from that perspective, the scoring. So I'll do one of those, and we'll kind of take. I'll try to do a deep dive and give a analysis on um, the guys and who I thought was at the time when the game was evolving and changing, how the point scores were able to affect it, and the coaches too, with their schemes and running their flexes and things of that nature. Triangle maturation of triangle offense. The 3 point, the 3 point is all Don Nelson. That's that's his baby. I think he evolved that type of game. It came from him, and of course Steph and the Warriors really in the Mavericks really capitalized on it, meaning that they had good production shooting those shots. Of course, the Steph Warriors had the best production, and highlight of how that scheme really worked was a good example when the We Believe team Warriors upset the number 1 seed. They was going bombs away. So thus the terminology me and my boys have is called getting Warrior hot. I mean, you ain't missing from 3-pointer, but that's all Don Nelson. No shade against Curry. Curry was a beneficiary of the offense, and because he was able to execute very well, very excellent. He's the best shooter, 3-point shooter he is. So, and that's what volume shooting or not. He just hits them. You know, I think Reggie would still be up there if he shot as many. If the offense, if they ran that type of scheme, I think he'll be close. But I don't think. I mean, still be of course above James Harden because heck, he's Reggie Miller's only 3 players away from James Harden, and James Harden's at 31, and Reggie was ended at 35. So I know for a fact Reggie would have got up 500 more if the emphasis was on that. I don't know if he can. I think Steph still pass him, but I think I will give it to Steph and Reggie being the best. In my opinion, Steph and Reggie Miller are the best all-time 3-point shooters. And that's no shade against Ray Allen or James Harden. It's just, those are the two. And I know Reggie can shoot from everywhere, So I'm going to end it on that note. Thank you very much and much appreciated. And I'll just keep trying to get this good quality content out for you guys. All right. I'm out.